and Pentanet are still looking for that juicy first win.
Yep, looking for that big win, and it would also be, for members of the Fans Club, a huge win. Because if Pentanet were able to upset Mad, of course that could have implications with the potential match between Mad and Cloud9. It looks like those are the two teams that are battling for that 4th place spot right now. Of course, Mad, massive favorites in this game against Pentanet, have been pretty consistent against most of the teams. You know, they have looked really good against pretty much everyone except, I would say, you know, Damwon and RNG. Mad have been very solid against all the other teams, you know, 3-1 against PSG. They obviously took down Pentanet once. They crushed Cloud9. So Mad coming in here as the heavy favorites, looking to continue business as usual.
You know it.
And try to pick up another win.
And last time these two teams met, it was a pretty swift Mad Lions victory. 26 minutes. It was 15-7. There wasn't a whole lot that Pentanet was able to really build against this squad. We'll see what sort of a strategy they have cooked up here today. Bans are done for the first half of the draft. Lucian, Morgana, Varus, Udyr, Lee Sin, Renekton all banned away. And Pentanet decides they want to go for that Rumble. First pick of the whole draft here.
Yep, going to be grabbing that up. Be interesting to see where Elyoya wants to take us with his pick. Of course, he does have a pretty deep champion pool. We have seen a number of different answers coming through. You know, the big three, the only one remaining was that Rumble, so it makes sense that that was grabbed up. But earlier in the day, we saw Lilia come out from Wei. We just saw a Volibear game from Blabber. That's going to be a quick lock here for Elyoya. Makes a lot of sense when you consider he played it 7 times in the LEC. Only played more actually on the Udyr, which was, of course, banned out. So this is a comfort pick for him. And Elyoya is such an incredible early game jungler. Yes, he's good in the later stages too, but really his pathing early game, very creative, very intelligent. He's very good at getting a lot of these early game kills, and Volibear is a champion that can really make it happen. So Pentanet gonna have to be really careful about where they actually run into this Volibear. You know, Rumble cannot actually contest Volley in these early game skirmishes, in these ganks that could be coming through. So Pentanet solo laners, you think, especially, have got to be playing very safe around where Elyoya could be.
And we'll see the Kai'Sa also drafted here for Mad Lions as their second pick in the draft. And the response from Pentanet is to answer with the entirety of their own bot lane. They will grab the Aphelios as the counterpart to the Kai'Sa there. And considering when you draft Aphelios, you almost always want sort of some kind of safety mechanism for him in the support role. It'll be Thresh for decoy.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there, having that Thresh as a safety net like you're talking about. But we really haven't been seeing much Aphelios at all at MSI. Has come out, you know, maybe a couple times throughout the entire tournament, but definitely not considered one of those high priority champions. Will be a hyper carry though for Pentanet if he can get to those later stages of the game. Praedyth, of course, does have the 1 game on the champion here. Kai'Sa has been really high priority for a lot of teams. Carzzy already playing it 4 times at MSI, but really for the LCK and LPL teams as well, it feels like they're going to it pretty much every single time. So if you want to play these dive comps, and that's looking like what Mad is building, Kai'Sa fits in so well, right? You've got Leona, you've got Volley, they're jumping in there, they're applying the plasma with the CC that they have. You have Carzzy flying in on the Kai'Sa, and Carzzy has been having an incredible tournament. You know, a lot of people were questioning how well he would perform internationally coming into this, myself being one of them as well, as Carzzy and Kai'Sa were pretty inconsistent in the LEC, you know, did struggle against some of the top LEC bot lanes, but it has been largely smooth sailing for Carzzy. I think he has been having such a good tournament for them.
Okay, bans have gone through in the second half here. It's Orianna, Gnar, Urgot, and Kassadin all banned away. The Kassadin ban might seem a little bit strange, but remember the first time these two teams played against one another, that was the response that Pentanet had when they saw their opponents pick the Orianna, was to answer with Kassadin. Now, granted, the Kassadin pick did very poorly. It accomplished not much of anything, but it's one of those picks that's so different and it has such a game-warping presence if it comes online. They decide to ban it out anyway. It's going to be Jace as the 4th pick of this draft for the Mad Lions, and we'll have to see what the response from Pentanet is. They've already got the Rumble locked in, so I don't think that Nunu's going to come true, but all right, it's Qiyana.
Yeah, they could go Yorick again. It's actually quite a good matchup into the Jace. Didn't work out last time. I believe they brought it out against Cloud9 in their first match against them. But the picks here and the ban's pretty smart for Mad. You know, they ban out the Urgot. That's the most played for BioPanther. PGG had already banned out Gnar. That's the second most played. They take away Jace. That's the third most played. So you're pushing down,
right down the list.
BioPanther pretty far as his prio does go. Sion is next on the list for the champions that he has been playing this tournament. Of course, you can withstand the Jace. That is more your goal, to just be able to withstand the onslaught. You will get pushed in early, but if you don't get blasted, if you don't get dove, you can get towards Tabbies, get towards the early Bramble, and start to stabilize in that 1v1. Lissandra!
Okay!
Ooh, so this is actually, people are going to be kind of shocked because we're not seeing Lissandra at all, but Lissandra is so good into assassins, and particularly Qiyana, who really does depend on the grass blade, for that kind of invisibility. You can reveal all three of your spells, the Q, W, and E are all kind of that AoE. It's pretty easy to actually reveal in that, and if Qiyana ever dives in, you can both self-ult defensively if you're getting ganked, but also if she goes in, you hit her with the R. She's very squishy. She relies on being mobile, on being elusive to actually stay alive. So if Qiyana goes in, gets ulted by Lissandra, you will get 100 to 0, almost guaranteed with the amount of follow-up CC that is there for the Mad Lions. Lissandra also builds very well into the Zhonya's, something that is really, really effective against that Qiyana. So it is a niche pick, and that may have some of the Mad Lions fans worried, but in this particular matchup, very, very strong. Compositionally, I think makes a lot of sense here to be able to lock down this key target and just deny Chaz really much of an opportunity to kind of snowball the game.
I mean, you're talking about the build path into Zhonya's Hourglass. Zhonya's the best active in the game against the assassin class in general, and Lissandra has it built into her ulti along with a heal. Such a powerful defensive tool, as well as those offensive capabilities you were describing at locking the target down. I really do like seeing this pulled out as just that very, as you already described it, it's a super niche answer, but in the right situation, man, it can just feel crippling for a Qiyana or a similar champion.
Absolutely, and this is something that you see come out sometimes in solo queue. I'm going to be interested to see exactly how Humanoid wants to build it. A lot of times people will go towards something like the Rocket Belt, and then you go Zhonya second if you're looking more for that playmaking style of build. This does leave you a little bit low on mana, but it still can be pretty effective because you're getting HP on the Rocket Belt, harder to actually burst down. You can see he is going Electrocute, Ultimate Hunter there as well, so the sustain is going to be more from the Biscuits, as well as Time Warp Tonic. You start corrupting here.
Taste of Blood as well.
Yep, so Taste of Blood for the kind of trading there, and if you can start actually getting a decent amount of CDR, you stack up a couple stacks on Ultimate Hunter, the Ultimate does become incredibly low cooldown. Of course, you may have trouble actually getting in onto Praedyth, who does have Cleanse as well, but it doesn't really matter. You can just get an ultimate down on Chaz or even Pabu and try to burst them down, and that will be very, very effective in the team fights. And when you're diving in on someone like Praedyth, you can just utilize the self-ult. It actually does a pretty high amount of damage, and it's such a strong zoning tool, right? You fly in the back line, you W, Q, self-ult on top of these carries. They have got to kind of back it up, and that creates space for the rest of your team to really get a lot done here. Armut looking like he wants to just harass a little bit on that blue buff. With seeing them on the top side, they know they are on blue. Armut will try to harass as his team is going to actually invade and steal away the red. So already a great level 1 here for Mad. A lot of people are starting to prey on the level 1 of Rumble, recognizing that yes, he does have a fast clear, but you have to start W for that fast clear. And W is not a powerful team fight tool at level 1, right? Like, you can't contest the level 1, so you end up in this really awkward situation, and we'll see if Pabu goes for an invade and mid lane has the push and Jace has the push, well, guess what? You're actually going to get that defended by the Mad Lions. So very likely here, it's going to be a 3-quadrant clear for Elyoya, and it's going to be Pabu dealing with scraps. We can see him going down to the Wolves already, and it's actually all a full camp clear, 3-camp clear on the bot side for Elyoya. He's even taking the Krugs, so that will be defended, but this is a brutal start already for Pabu.
Pabu coming down into that bottom side quadrant now. One thing I want to address real quick before we get any further into the game, a couple important differences between the loadouts we're seeing here on the champions. Pabu has opted for the Dark Harvest, which is a rune that it's already been mentioned a couple of different times by a few different people. In pro play, many players feel that they aren't able to get enough stacks on this, but Pabu has the confidence that it's the right choice here in this game. Also worth pointing out that the teleports are uneven in this one. Mad does have teleport on both of their solo laners, whereas Chaz has the Ignite, very common for assassins. Also in the bottom lane, Cleanse for Praedyth. It makes sense when you're against this point-and-click CC from things like Leona, from things like the Lissandra. You must be able to get out of those, but it does mean less direct combat power compared to what the heal from Carzzy will be able to do. As well, Decoy's running exhaust compared to Ignite, because when you're against these Kai'Sas and Tristanas and 80 carries that have dive power of their own, it makes a world of difference. Here in the mid lane, Humanoid's got control, but Pentanet is walking towards bottom, looking to maybe make a play. Decoy goes in, Kaiser gets caught, but they're looking to turn things right back around with Decoy taking some damage now. Kaiser looking to keep on going forward. Pabu's at about 100 HP. Humanoid with the flash for the first blood.
Nicely done. You land the hook, but you just got to back it up anyway. The TP comes down here from Humanoid. BioPanther was trying to match. You can see the flash got taken off Armut, so safe to assume that Armut flashed in there to try to interrupt the teleport coming through from BioPanther. And Mad striking on that bottom side. I think Pabu was feeling the pressure to make something happen because he knew he was so far behind, and now Praedyth is just going to die, likely.
Oh, he tries to use the cleanse, but it just does not get it done. That's what I'm talking about. Cleanse versus heal. Yes, the cleanse will get you out of some of the CC, but your health bar is still oh so squishy as hell.
Yeah, this is looking really bad already here for Pentanet, so the level 1, Elyoya already took away 2 camps from his bottom side. There's no red buff on Pabu. He didn't feel that he could invade. So the pressure is there to try to get something done. And like expected, flash in, interrupt the TP. You could tell that from the summoner cooldown there. Pabu trying to retreat, but Humanoid has arrived, flashes in, finishes him off. And Mad get that follow-up kill in the 2v2. And yes, Praedyth will collect some of the CS, but the biggest problem is you go back to base and you got a longsword and boots, whereas Carzzy's going back to base and he gets a Noon Quiver, right? So the power is so much higher, and Pabu's going to die again.
Yeah, I don't think the items are the biggest problem now. I think the biggest problem now is we've got Rumble spending most of his time in the dirt. Pabu now 0-2-0 in the first 5 minutes of the game, and the Mad Lions are doing a great job being able to keep this Rumble from ever coming online.
Yeah, Pabu has had a couple of tough ones here on the Rumble, playing against Damwon, I believe it was yesterday or the day before. You know, tried to go for that kind of a split map. He ended up trying to invade, had to execute, got put so incredibly far behind. This time didn't even feel like he could invade. And it does feel like we are starting to see a bit of an established answer to this Rumble jungle, to how you can actually handle it. Of course, it does mean you need to have pushing lanes, right? Like you can't deny the trade of sides if you don't have pushing lanes, right? Mad were able to do this because mid was pushing, top was pushing, he loses his bot side, he can't invade top because the solo lanes will collapse and kill him. So it's not a guaranteed answer, but this does seem to be something that Rumble has really been struggling with, and you've got no choice really as Pabu but to just keep trying to gank, because he lost his top side again on the invade. He died up there, he knows there's no camps, so he has to go down bot side. The problem here is this isn't solo queue. Mad are tracking you. Mad know, guess what? There's no camps available on top side. Where could he be? Well, he's gonna go to the bot side. So Kaiser and Carzzy have no flash. Guess what they're gonna do? They're not gonna walk up, right? And Mad has been, I think, very intelligent about this sort of cross-map play. When they do create advantages, they are good at understanding what their opponent's win conditions are, right? And this is something that I think Elyoya has been really proficient at, you know, tracking junglers. You'll often see pings come out at the expected camp where the enemy jungler will be, and very often he is on point with it. So that is something that you always love to see from your junglers. It's just such a benefit when they're adept at tracking their opponent.
Okay, we've got all solo laners with their level 6, so ultis have come online. Worth noting that BioPanther has also currently swapped his teleport over to an Ignite, so we might see Pentanet try to make some sort of a play here on the top side. Back in the bottom lane, the 2v2 just continues business as usual, but it is a nice CS lead here for Carzzy. And it's important to remember, with a champion like Aphelios, this isn't a Xayah who has a get-out-of-jail-free card on the ulti, right? This is a
level
champion.
6 volley, they want to dive.
If they fall too far behind, Praedyth's only going to be in more and more trouble, and the trouble keeps on keeping on. Goodbye, Praedyth. Goodbye, Decoy. At least they don't gotta die alone. It's 2 more over to the Mad Lion.
Oh, Mad Lion snowballing this one out of control. Pabu trying to get something done on the top side, but he's already been spotted by that pink ward. He is level 5. They could look for a dive here. Honestly, it's a low percentage play, but I don't blame you. You are looking like you are just going to bleed out of this game, so you've got to try something. You've got the Spellbook Ignite. Go for the dive. See if you can make something happen.
Well, BioPanther's already almost dead. Our mood has immediately shut this down. Chaz rotates up towards this top lane as well. There's no minion wave.
And Matter coming. I mean, this is just desperation, right? And Armut played that so well. You know, keeping BioPanther in range of the tower. He knocks him back towards it again. The Spellbook Ignite got committed. Elyoya as well as Kaiser move up to cover. So there's no chance at making the dive happen. Pentanet are going for desperation plays, but really it's all they have left. Because they are just monstrously behind. And Humanoid moving up here, they want the fight.
Elyoya goes in. Chaz taking a lot of damage here with Humanoid coming over the wall. Chaz with the flash to get to safety underneath the tier 1 turret here in the top lane. He will stay alive, but with half health and almost no mana left, this is not a good situation that Pentanet finds themselves in. Mad Lions making sure they are able to back. BioPanther's making his way up here now, interrupts the Hex Flash, but now he's in a 1v3. Pabu and Chaz looking to rotate down here and help him out a little bit. BioPanther likely to die first. We'll see if he gets any value out of the passive. Chaz tries to follow up, but instead there's the lockdown. There's exactly what you were talking about, Azael. How easily Lissandra can make Kiana just stop. Elyoya gets away too. The game is 7-0. Kaiser continues the charge. They will find another kill into Pabu, and the Mad Lions have absolutely decimated this early game.
I think it's time to clock it. A time of death. 9:24 on the clock there. Rest in peace, Pentanet. Mad leaving no doubt whatsoever in this one. They are so far ahead. The level 1 was intelligent. They have snowballed this game to perfection. Pabu was left with no choice but to go for these desperation ganks, which were anticipated and responded to perfectly here by Mad. And this one is just an absolute steamroll. You look at the goal differences shown there. Sion knows that his jungler and his mid are about to get dope, right? So he has to get up there. He has to be able to try to prevent this. And yes, he gets some good damage down. Pabu does get the level up, hit 6, had a well-placed equalizer, but you're just not quite strong enough. That is the levels. That is the golden action. Elyoya survives. They kill them all off, and now you're losing plates on the bottom side as well. And they have the Herald, so that tower is actually just going to go down. This is going to be nearing a 7,000 gold lead.
Holy cow, man. Look at that. When the worst score... Oh, no, I don't even have time to make my joke. Never mind. Chaz is about to pop here in mid. There it is. Kaiser gets it with the proc on the Leona W. We've seen that result in a Leona death to chickens, but this time it is a Leona kill on Kiana. Mad Lions, 9 kills in 10 minutes.
Well, I think you can confirm it. Chickens greater than Kiana. You know, we've seen it displayed here at MSI. You know, we got the power levels worked out at this point. Does look like it's going to be likely an Everfrost for Humanoid and won't be going for that Rocket Belt that some people would if they want that extra HP, play it a little bit more defensively perhaps. But Everfrost also really, really good. Layering the CC here can be exceptionally powerful. There's a lot of melee / short range champions, you know, when you're looking over at Pentanet and Kaiser. Just starting things up, of course, won't have the damage to kill off Sion, but is pushing him back and locking him up. Looks like they want to go for it.
Okay, BioPanther with the flash to get away. Notice how Kaiser was positioning himself between BioPanther and the turret just to make sure that he could not use the ult to try to escape. Kaiser with the smart positioning forces out the summoner spell. Karzi has rotated into the top lane now with no turret left to siege in the bottom lane. Why not just get to work somewhere else? Meanwhile, Praedith's now in trouble. Humanoid going after him, forcing out the cleanse. That summoner spell will get Praedith away here this time. BioPanther trying to use the ulti to get back to the tier 1 turret, but instead he's going to be intercepted. Kaiser is almost completely out of mana here. Exhaust used onto Karzi, so they won't have enough damage to get the kill here. At least Pentanet will find themselves, honestly, their first big thing of this game in grabbing the first dragon, but it's too little, it's too late. Decoy having a flash to keep himself alive. Gets a death sentence onto Elyoya, but only pulls him in range for one single turret shot. BioPanther trying to follow up if he can. Equalizer's gonna get a whole lot of nothing, as now Humanoid finds himself in that death chamber, and there you go. Pentanet's on the board.
Big shutdown there for Pabu, but they're going to need a lot more than that to try to scrape their way back in the game. Karzi taking the solo gold on the tower up on that top side. Pentanet do get a kill. They do get that tower. And I also realized I'm trolling because this is actually the same amount of HP, I'm pretty sure, on Rocket Belt and Everfrost. Rocket Belt still more of the option kind of just for the engage, and you want the extra little bit of mobility, wave clear. Everfrost obviously pretty darn standard though on Lysandra. But either way, Pentanet, you're just going to be grouping, you're going to be looking for picks. That's your only hope. You can't actually ever come back in a game like this if you're playing it normally. So I think what we're going to see is just continual fights from Pentanet. They group up. They hope that they can find, odd-numbered fights where they can create an advantage like this one, and hope and pray that they can scrape their way back into this game. But Mad is doing such a good job. Even when you get that kill mid, you lose your tower top. They're pushing all lanes as a winning team should do. Yep. And that makes it so even if you lose a fight on one part of the map, you can never win across the map because the Mad members are just individually so much stronger.
Pabu's in some trouble yet again. Ulti comes down, follow-up CC goes through. Pabu's able to flash away. The CC chain is not quite perfect enough, but now they're not done. Decoy will be the target here next. Elyoya grabbing a killing spree on that one, but Kaiser's in serious danger of dying. Chaz will pick that up. Elyoya continues his retreat. BioPanther will not have the speed to pursue him any further. Humanoid continuing to try to press forward. Again, just taking any sort of resource they can. BioPanther, you want to get out of there, buddy. I know you're the solo laner and that's the AD carry, but you don't want nothing to do with this. Elyoya wants to steal away the blue if they can. That goes over to him.
Okay.
Chaz can pick up the kill. Chaz is going in, but he is going right back out. Nicely done. Pentanet's mid laner picking up a kill in the enemy jungle. Now Humanoid's in a 1v3. He'll get killed off as well. Pentanet with a good punish.
Nicely done from Pentanet. Chaz with the outplay, getting a couple of kills there. Carzzy fishing, not quite, as Chaz does finish the recall, but again, you're still getting pushed in across the map. Mad is monstrously ahead here. Carzzy up towards that top side to collect the farm. Let's watch this one more time. I love the Pro View replays here. This was really nicely done, honestly. You've got to go for the crazy outplays. You've got to go for the aggressive plays. The flash on the ulti slam down that would have killed him. He's able to hop over the wall there with that grab of the water blade, and CC lands. So his team can come in and clean up another kill there. They are on the board, fighting back a little bit here, but let's not pretend that Mad is not fully in control. It's still an absolutely astronomical gold lead, and they look like they're cruising towards a victory here. We'll see if Pentanet can say anything about that, but it's got to be continual fights, right? It's got to be continual kills going the way of PGG for them to have much hope in this game.
Afraid of the cleanse again, keeping himself safe from that Leona ulti, but now the dive is coming out. Decoy's going to be your target here at the very beginning. Kaiser finding himself stuck, has to flash over the wall into the Wraith pit. Pabu continues the chase. Chaz coming around from the flank. Mad Lion's support is down. Nice two-man stun coming out from Kiana ulti, but nobody else is in range to follow up. Mad Lions decide to disengage. There's nothing else to fight here. BioPanther, however, wants to make sure they can continue the chase. Elyoya gets slowed, but a TP's coming in. We'll see if Humanoid can find much here. Pabu's about to die to Armut, or is he? Humanoid picking up the kill against Pabu now. Armut getting himself away here with a blast cone. BioPanther dies in the top half of the river, and Mad Lions take yet another victory for themselves. 8,000 gold ahead at 16 minutes.
They are rich, going straight to the moon this one. Mad looking to take down that Rift Herald as well, continue the push. They already got all the outer towers, haven't lost any of their own here just yet, and can utilize this to crack another turret. They can look to collect this Mountain Dragon, but I really doubt that this is going to be a game about Dragon Soul. The second dragon here would be the first going down for Mad, would be taken around 17, 18 minutes, and I don't think the game is going to last long enough for Soul to really be something that matters. So while Mad may grab it, not going to be too important here. The cleanse forced out by a nicely placed ult there from Kaiser. Elyoya was on the wraparound. They just know they can dive. The turret's low enough that they can always turn and finish it if it becomes an issue here. And Pabu chasing down. They do get one return kill there, and Chaz with a nicely placed Kiana ult, but they just don't really have enough here to chase it down as they continue going forward. They know they need to get more of an edge, but they don't quite have the damage, and the TP came in, and they were able to turn it around and finish off a couple kills here with Armut barely surviving.
Yeah, and you could say, hey, it's an overchase or whatever, but honestly, every single play has to be a Hail Mary, right?
Yes,
You
exactly.
can't just take one kill and say, all right, guys, that's good. You're down 8,000 gold.
Yep.
Everything's got to be this crazy play that could get you back into the game. Otherwise, you just lay on the floor and bleed out until the
Exactly.
Nexus says defeat, right?
Yep.
That's what we need to see Pentanet do, is just always be trying, always be looking for some sort of a window. Even if it's a 1% play, that's higher than the percentage chance of you winning by sitting down.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I was going to say. The way I look at League of Legends and the way I think pro teams should really approach it is evaluate what you think your chances to win the game are and take any plays that are better than that, right? So if you say this is a 1% chance to win this game from, an 8,000 gold deficit, all your towers actually going down, then anything that's better than 1% chance is better than your current odds, right? So something that's like a 5% or a 10% play, you normally wouldn't want to go for. But in this case, those are pretty good odds. If you can get a random pentakill on a Praedyth or something, well, hey, maybe that's your way in. Is it going to work out? No, probably not. But I mean, sitting back is just a guaranteed loss when you're in this position, so you've got to go for the crazy plays.
Okay, there's the hook onto Elyoya, but that's not a target you can initiate on, so Pentanet will have to back up once more. 18.5 minutes into the game, Azael, and they are stuck inside the walls of their own base. BioPanther decides to step outside.
Nice
He'll be met with
equalizer.
the entirety of Mad Lions. Humanoid pops him, and we'll see if that Kiana ulti gets anything. No, it will not. Travels along the wall, but everybody from Mad gets out of the way. BioPanther's zombie fades away, turns into a second zombie, but this one's made of ice. Sion just won't die. And BioPanther's finally out of the picture. Seeing black and white for the next 15 seconds. Mad Lions will continue pushing forward, looking for the tier 2 turret. Our boot's about to get hunted as zeroed. Shield keeps him alive, but the Ignite is ticking down. He will die. Decoy falls, Chaz falls, Pabu falls. Praedyth against the world, and the world's pretty damn big, Isaac. Double kill back over to Karzi. Kaiser even gets the kill in supportal combat, and Mad Lions are up 10,000, 11,000 gold.
They are crushing this one. Chaz gets a nice little stylish kill there over onto our Moot, but the rest doesn't matter as Mad piles in, knocks them all down there. Having a pretty decent game on the Kiana. We heard Chaz talk in his interview earlier in the tournament about this pick, how he feels like, hey, yes, you're going to lose in lane, but you don't need as much gold as some of these other champions to be successful. We can kind of see this demonstrated here as in he goes. He has the Prowler's Claw, closes the gap. Really nicely played. Backing out just in the nick of time there, has the Ignite to finish him off, but in the meantime, Karzi's already in the back line, kills them all off. Yes, Arma did die, but it really didn't matter in the big picture here. They're taking your entire jungle. They're always getting more kills. They've knocked down almost every outer tower you have, and Baron is on the map here, so really all Mad need to do is start this up. PGG, you go, you can test it. You pray something miracle happens. You pray you can get a kill. You pray you can get a steal because you cannot afford to give up this Baron or the game is just probably going to end during that Baron buff.
Well, Baron is gone. Mad Lions have secured that. Kaiser will see BioPanther approaching, flashes in, finds the two-man ulti. Pabu with a stasis stays alive. Nice turnaround coming out there with a shutdown over to Kiana, killing off Karzi. But the fight, it's just too much, Azael. They are slapping him with the wallet, just beating him to death with the damn thing. Decoy's the only man left standing, trying to get away from our Moot here. He wants to close the gap with the blast cone. He didn't quite get the angle, so he cannot follow Decoy all the way. The Thresh will survive, but the rest of Pentanet will not. Decoy will just buy some time, man. Stop the minions, walk back into the brush, do whatever. Who cares? The Baron's gone over to Mad Lions. It's a 14,000 gold game. It's all over except the Nexus falling apart.
Yeah. I like how he stops the recall just to fight him. Just have a little fun with it. Why not? I'm making a dance. Come on, let's have a little brotherly love here.
Or run around in circles or something. Oh no. Okay, he literally just dies to the lightning field.
All right, let's watch this one more time. Again, Mad crushing through, but not before Chaz blows someone up here, taking down the AD carry there, as Praedyth did have a nice Inferno multi across the team, but of course it's a one-way trip there for Chaz. He gets burst down. Elyoya, the big bear, hopping into the back line here. does knock down Chaz in return, and you can see how much work Humanoid is getting done. This is one of the things about Lissandra. When you are playing from a winning team, it is such a strong champion because the passive damage is actually really, really high. So when your team is getting those kills and snowballing through, those little ice ghosts are running out and just smacking everybody down. They can get thousands of damage out in a fight sometimes. It can be really, really crazy.
But I do want to give credit over to Chaz playing this Qiyana and picking this Qiyana, because I think this type of champion, which you pointed out earlier, even Chaz said, hey, you lose lane, but then you can make plays. That's what I need to see from Penta, right? I hated the fact they locked in Kassadin earlier because he's a sit and wait for me to hit 16 guys type of champ. That's not how Pentanet are going to win games. They've got to be scrappy. They've got to be forcing things. Qiyana's the kind of champion that can work in that environment. Yes, the game's already doomed. It's a 15,000 gold difference at 23 minutes, but I like the fact that they're playing these types of champions because I think that's the way that Pentanet can try to get themselves an upset win at some point here.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the way they can make themselves some fans, right? You know, I think they've been a lot of fun. This is a team with some swagger to them. You know, the coach getting out there. He's got some style. They're having fun. They're going with the spicy picks, the Zed, the Qiyana. But it looks like this one is pretty much all but wrapped up.
Okay, BioPanther is down. He turns into the first zombie. He turns into the second zombie. He's finally off the map. Mad Lions pushing towards those Nexus turrets. It's a 5v4. Decoy goes for the hook. He finds the Lissandra. A lot of damage coming out. Chaz looking for a bit more. Kaiser's nearly dead here. Humanoid healing up with his own ulti. Kaiser is still burning. Humanoid now with his second invulnerability. That'll buy enough time. That'll get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mad Lions showing Pentanet exactly what they can do in a game of League of Legends. Kaiser does die to the Ignite there. Elyoya chasing after Chaz. Our Moot goes for the accelerated shock blast. It won't grab the kill. And there you go, GG in 24 minutes.
Well played there by the Mad Lions, leaving no doubt whatsoever, picking up their fourth win. They needed that to maintain control of their own destiny here. They really wanted to grab that extra win. They are able to do so and stay ahead, you know, that extra game of Cloud9. They really want to be maintaining the lead that they already have, hoping that Cloud9 will drop, you know, some more other games here and there. The Mad Lions doing really well against these teams below them in the standings. They have kind of been the bar thus far, I would say, you know, at MSI. You know, the teams below them, they have been able to very confidently handle. The teams above them, they're still trying to find those small improvements, those incremental improvements to be able to really challenge the teams at the top of the table. And we'll have to track their development throughout the rest of this event. Because right now they're still looking comfortable and they're in a good position to be able to make it to that knockout stage.
And beating Pentanet just this decidedly shows me that they're not falling into the trap that you see teams fall into sometimes, where you just take a game for granted as, oh, it's going to be a win, they can't beat us or whatever, and then you give up a free game that you shouldn't have. Mad Lions clearly just had no mercy going into this. 15,000 gold difference at 23 minutes is not the kind of game that you're taking lightheartedly. That's the kind of game that you're here to win and get it done with. Go on to the next one. Mad Lions had a game plan. They executed. They got it done, and they looked good doing it. That's the end of this game, so we're going to head to a break here. Coming up next, the Analyst Desk will break down how Mad Lions went back to what has been working for them here at MSI. Don't go anywhere.